So
that's my recipe for exceptional chocolate cake. You have to watch the movie that I was mentioning earlier.
You know what? I don't want chocolate cake that bad. I'll be honest with you.
After what you've just described, I doubt I'll ever eat chocolate again.
For those of you in the chat, I was telling him about a movie called Sallow. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it,
I saw the poster for it. I'm like, no.
Like, that poster.
Do you want to see somebody eating poo? My answer is always no. No, I don't. No, I don't want to know anything about it. That
poster is tame compared to what you'll see in the movie. Like it is messed up. You do not want to eat while watching this movie because whatever you're eating, you will never want to touch it again. My stomach was off for a week, and I can stomach anything. Yes, and big balls. Damn right.
Chris, I just have one word. I just have one word for you, Chris. Teletubbies. You need to cleanse your palate from all this stuff. With something like
dude, there's some twisted Teletubby stuff out there. If you want to do a deep dive, damn, you'll never look at Teletubbies the same way again.
You can rely on fandom for everything nowadays.
Basically, Teletubbies are prototype furries.
I guess that's where it came from. It was a big thing until Teletubbies came out. You're making sense.
Yeah.
So we're doing
it's a bit of a kinky winky erotic.
We're not.
We've done something for the scatologists out there. We're appearing to the furry community as well. So I feel we're already ticking a certain amount of boxes here.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
we got. Folks, I was enlightening Rabbi with some classic. So there's Sallow, which you can never unsee. There's Gravy, which I featured on the show a couple years ago, where the meal choice is what you think it is. Think Soylent Green, but more graphic. And then the Human Centipede Part 2. Heads up if you've ever seen that one. There is actually a scene in that movie where you actually say out loud, "I can't believe they actually did that." And then you realize they did that. Oh my God.
I'm not into those movies. I'm just not into those movies. Okay, the sort of horror movies I like are like Oculus. I found that I found that nice and freaky.
That is a nice. I like all horror, but yes,
what's the other
freaky
one?
With a small F.
I mean, I like those Neil Jordan vampire movies. He did a couple, and they're both pretty good. That's one where the waterfall starts flowing blood. That one, but they're not like horror. I'm like Hellraiser. That's as horror as I get. Right, I like Hellraiser. Oh, the first couple. Anyway.
Half of Severance's output is stuff that normal people couldn't want to watch. But yes, come with the warning, people. Any of those movies I mentioned, especially Sallow, be warned. You will never unsee it, and you literally will not be able to eat for a week.
Yeah, that's not an approbation. That's not saying, "Oh yeah, I want to do that." No, and if you do want to do that, get yourself a psychiatrist. That's weird.
It's like that show Fear Factor.
Oh God!
There could well be a high demand for psychologists and psychiatrists in Britain after this week. It just seems to have gotten worse and worse.
I saw a great
Kev's about to join us. Hold on. Kev's about to join us. I just want to grab him by the. Here he is.
Hello.
I can't hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Raider. Hello, mate.
I'm gonna get out and come back in because I can't hear you guys. Be right back.
Okay. We can hear him. We can hear him fine. I tell you what, I wish I couldn't hear him. My God, this guy.
Oh dear God.
Oh yeah, did you get your card already, Dan?
You guys are so screwed. You've outdone Canada at this point.
Nobody panic. It's not going to happen. They can't implement it before 2030. Right?
He said before the end of this parliament. So
it's not making it the end of this parliament. Look at him. Goodness sake! I mean,
he means he's in the midst of a leadership challenge right now with Andy Burnham, which is half of what all of this is about. So desperately trying to cling on to the leadership, to signal to the Tony Blair Institute, get them involved. This man is one odious fucking turd. We've had some bad prime ministers over the last 20 years.
I've never wanted to see one up hanging from a lamp.
Dan, I have to admit it.
In real life, I've never wanted to see one hang. Like again, I am not advocating political violence in any way, right? But if it goes crazy and society breaks down, and Keir Starmer ends up hanging from a lamppost with his pants pulled down. Right? I don't know why I'm adding that bit in, but I think it's important. Right? I'll be going. That's fair.
It does change the context. Crucially,
well,
yes.
I have to say, Dan, I'm in Canada, and even I'm in shock.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. Like he's been in what, a year? Not even. He's ruined
Just
your country, dude. He did what
breakneck speed. It's very impressive.
He did what it took Justin 10 years to do.
In the last week, he lied, barefaced lied yet again to the leader of the free world. Then there was the whole recognizing the states of things that aren't states business, which made us look like absolute chumps and sent completely the wrong messages to just about everybody in the equation, all to appeal to one demographic that are never going to vote for him ever again. So there's that. And then he finishes off the week with bringing in the announcement of bringing in of the digital ID, which has been a Labour pet project now for the best part of 30 years. I can't. When are we going to get a real statesman? When are we going to get a genuine prime minister? When is the next Churchill going to appear from somewhere? Just guys, if you only sign one petition, this is so fucking important. You've got to sign this petition.
Your life over. Yeah. Your life is over. At that point, you're living in a sci-fi dystopia.
When they say it's going to be, when they say it's going to be mandatory, it doesn't mean they're going to go literally house to house and force you to do this, but they're going to encourage you to do this at every step. And if you voluntarily go for it, and if you put this collar on, you'll never get the fucker off.
Well,
sign
Dan,
the petition.
You'll need to use it to make like doctor appointments and things like that.
Well, no, Dan, they were saying yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Sorry, I was eating a Nutri-Grain bar because I'm old and I get cranky when I'm hungry. But I was watching yesterday. Apparently, you will not be able to work without a digital ID.
So he says.
It's like, wow. So Britain said to Canada.
The irony is, the irony is, Chris, that all the illegals who've been able to find a way to work, even though they haven't got things like national insurance numbers and driving licenses and all these things, they'll be able to find a way around it really pretty easy.
Well, use the app. They'll probably be able to hack the app to use it. It'll facilitate things for them.
Well, around here, they drive, because they all drive Ubers. They all switch licenses with each other. So we've got people that literally have no license crashing into things in our city. I'm like, it's very easy to get around it if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, we've got people. One individual. We've got 3 individuals claiming to be the same individual who will then apply for a job, take that job, or get that job through an agency, agree to do sort of triple shifts in care homes or wherever else, and they'll actually be dividing it up between them. So the agency will get a cut and they'll all get a cut. You've got all sorts of shady shit going on. We've got nail bars and vape shops, mobile phone repair shops all up and down the country, and most notoriously of all, Turkish barber shops that are anything but. They're not Turkish and they're not fucking barbers. It's all over the country and it's got to stop.
What are they then, these shops, these Turkish barber shops?
Oh, they are money. They're fronts for money laundering and people trafficking.
Yep.
Open secrets.
In one city I used to live in, I won't mention which city it is, so they don't come get me. But they have 2 Dodge dealerships right across the street from each other. One is legit. I'll let you imagine what the other one is. Nothing fishy about that at all. It makes perfect sense to have 2 Dodge dealerships literally across the street from each other. We have a vape shop on every corner here now. Vape and cannabis. We don't have a street without a cannabis shop. And all you can smell is skunk.
Donald Trump has reduced illegal invaders, illegal immigration getting into the USA by over 95% in less than a year without introducing a digital ID. So why Starmer can't do it? Who do you think he's fooling? Gary, have you been following it?
Yeah, but I guarantee you that if our election gone the other way, they would 100% try something like this.
100%. You don't know the bullet you dodged.
We're actually lucky, and and Gary, we must thank you. The only reason Canada isn't completely loopy right now is two reasons. One, 3 of our 10 provinces actively want to leave the country. For those of you who don't know, these are the provinces of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Quebec.
We'll go to Jamaica. That's it. We're done being Canadian.
Yeah. Well, Alberta and Saskatchewan may petition to join the U.S. Quebec wants to be its own country, but they won't do anything stupid because of your president down south. It was very different under Biden because he didn't quite know where he was. But our leaders, our previous prime minister was terrified of Trump. And the current one, he's smart. He's very, very devious. He's the puppet master. But he knows that pushing stuff like this in Canada will... Our economy is also imploding. So he knows that our entire population is literally about to explode. So that's the only reason a lot of this stuff is not as prevalent right now. But good God, Dan, I am so sorry, man. Jesus Christ.
As far as I'm concerned,
sympathies from Canada.
As far as I'm concerned, this is a non-partisan issue that stretches across the whole sort of political domain. It's the notion of a digital ID is inherently anti-British. And if you only ever sign one petition in your life, everybody in Britain who's watching and listening to this, it has to be this one. This is so serious because everything they're saying is bullshit.
Yeah, don't
the hour,
right, this
hour,
is your last chance.
Nobody believes it anyway. This is nothing to do with the illegals, with stopping the illegals. It'll make no difference whatsoever. The only thing that'll stop that is re-migration. Deport them. The country wants them deported. This was the latest survey here across Britain. 52.7% of voters would likely support their MP. Support their MP. That's any party. If they back mass deportations one by one, MPs are coming round to this and publicly endorsing it too, whichever party they are in. And you look up and down the country here, the figures are overwhelming. Now, you know that voter turnout is like in Britain. It is shockingly bad. We really need to look to America here for leadership on this. We need to get out and vote. You need to follow Restore Britain. That's Rupert Lowe's movement. That's the place to watch. Totally bipartisan across all of the political spectrum there with hard fact. Even London. Look, now London has only 36.8% of London residents are white British. Okay, and that's in the last census from 2021. Now, can you imagine that figure has probably gone down since then, Chris? And yet, look at that representation. Still 46.3% of people in London would still back this. That means it's not about race. This is not about race. This is about culture, and it's really desperate. Damn. Sincerely, if you're not political, you need to get your head in the game because these fuckers are serious. You need to vote against this and stop this.
Dan, actually do everybody here a favor. Just if you want to just put the link up in the post on the Spacebook chat, or your own.
I'll be going at this.
Everybody
hard.
Retweet it.
If anybody wants information, get in touch with me on the socials. By all means, if it's something you're unsure about, I can point you in the right direction. Obviously, this is mostly a home for genre content, but I've never been more serious about anything I've ever broadcast about in the last 7 or 8 years. This is so important, everybody. If you don't understand what's happening, there are places you can go to get hard fact that isn't diluted with subjective opinion. General objective fact, and you can judge for yourself. But if you want my opinion, get over to Restore Britain. Join them if you can and see what everything that Rupert Lowe is talking about. This is no exaggeration. It's never been more desperate. This man, where is he? This man needs to get gone as soon as he's removed from office. Ideally, they should dissolve Parliament and start again. And something has got to happen. I know it may seem like I'm overdoing it with this, but this is a war now for the very heart of Britain. This is an ideological war. They're deadly serious. So everybody who opposes this can't afford to just sit there in indolence. You've got to find out the facts and vote on this. Speak to your MP and sign that petition, please.
I was looking at the ratio of those numbers on the map that you had up, Dan. It seemed like the London numbers were the closest together of all of them. All those regions were pretty far apart, except for London, which is about 20. Northeast is way like 64 to 9. But London is pretty close
most
together.
Most of London are foreigners, I believe. That's why.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what skews it.
So let this sink in. We're going to talk geeky stuff. Of course we are now, but expect more as the country gets worse. I can't just sit back and watch this happen and not say something. So I will not comply with the digital ID. Once you accept this
on TV too often,
fucked.
Right? We've seen these TV shows too often. This is how all good TV show starts, right? This is how Blake 7 starts. It's really not good.
We talk a lot about dystopias on this particular live stream, and we are heading in that direction. Kev, welcome back.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey. Well, welcome to our uplifting show.
Good to be back. Appreciate it.
It's all mirth from here on in, mate. How's your week been?
Oh, it's so far so good. Thursday night, I went to go see Billy Idol with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts opening up. One of the best concerts I've ever been to. And since you guys are cinephiles, I just want to let everyone know that I went to a very special event on Friday. There's two venues that exist in the planet right now called the COSM, COSM, one in LA and one in Texas. Think about the Vegas Sphere / the best IMAX theater
I keep seeing clips
thing
of
you'll
that.
ever see. And
Wow.
I went and saw the 25th anniversary of The Matrix at the COSM in Los Angeles.
That is crazy.
Wow.
And it is a kind of not a full spherical situation, but it's like half a sphere where they show the movie. And then around the big widescreen presentation, they expand the scenes around it. So you're basically in the movie. I think about the famous scene in The Matrix where they have the shootout in the lobby. Okay.
Yes.
And then beyond the film of the screen, they show the rest of the lobby in their own way. And
that is crazy.
In 8K, it looks real. In 8K resolution is put around. When in the Ebenezer and they're going around beneath the earth, they expand what it looks like around you. When the famous fight dojo scene between Morpheus and Neo, they expand that around you. And then, so the ticket was $89. That's a lot, right?
Totally worth it.
Hold on.
Totally worth it.
I didn't realize this when I paid for it right away. But when you showed up, you also got a meal that was designed to go with the experience. So the first thing you get is a little Chinese food box, because that's in one of the scenes they're eating Chinese food. So you're given that and some chopsticks. Right. And then when Cypher is having his famous dinner with Mr. Smith and he's eating that steak, it comes out a little portion of real steak and you eat that with this little finding. And then at the end, the 3-course meal, you get a cookie when the scene of the Oracle comes out.
That's really cool.
It is
I love that.
It is the best experience I've ever had seeing a movie of any kind in a theater, to when I saw Avatar on 3D IMAX, to last year when I was in Australia and I saw Terminator to a live orchestra playing the music all the way through.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
The COSM is expanding. They're opening one in Atlanta, I hear, and also in Detroit. But if any of you guys are anywhere in that area, Gary, make a trip. If you like The Matrix, make a trip. It's right near where the Forum is, the Kia Forum and SoFi is. It's in Inglewood.
Okay.
Make a trip to go see this before it leaves, because I think it's a limited run. It started in June and it's continuing through the rest of the year, I believe.
Wow.
You got to experience this. It is the best experience I've ever had on the big screen watching any movie extra, and it was great to see The Matrix. And wait till you walk into the lobby; they have it all. Oh, by the way,
the second person to mention The Matrix to me in the last couple of days. Apparently, among students now, getting a copy of The Matrix from a charity shop on DVD as cheap as possible, going back and playing it on whatever kit you can get. That's become a
really resonates this year, and because of when they start talking AI in that movie and what AI has done now. Plus, at this theater, the Cosm, you can get your choice of the red pill or blue pill alcoholic drinks. It's great.
Excellent.
And you know, Kevin, you mentioned the Dome in Las Vegas. A friend of mine, a good friend, went to see U2 at that dome, and he showed me pictures. He was beyond blown away.
They're doing a similar thing there with the Wizard of Oz right now, where it's a 4D type of thing where they have like real kind of fake flying monkeys flying around during that scene.
That looks great.
But apparently they've cut out all the musical parts of that. They're just showing the movie, and they're
that's weird. I mean, you want the musical parts, wouldn't you? It's like kind of very important to Wizard of Oz.
Oh, it was great to see The Matrix. That movie holds up, I'll tell you.
Man, that's I even like the sequel they did, like, was it 10 years ago, which most people don't. I quite like that. I like that it didn't erase The Matrix, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm very glad that they did it.
And the sound and that music and the soundtrack, you're just like, oh, it's so good. I was, because you're like doing this. You're like, you feel like you're there.
Wow.
It is amazing.
Kevin, I was actually kind of hoping, Kevin, that you'd say at one point you were sitting there and Keanu Reeves came and served you a drink or something.
It has the feel like. And by the way, if you're a sports fan, they have been working with the NFL and other sports venues. They have their own cameras on the field, and they're actually showing college games and NFL games in soccer. They showed a part of a soccer game, or football as you guys call it around the world, where the camera's there right behind the goalie or along the side, and they imagine showing it all around you, above you and around you. It feels like you're there. It is an amazing way to experience not just a movie, but also can you imagine seeing a Star Wars movie that way? Lucasfilm, look these guys up. It'll be great.
So with sort of dogfights happening all around.
Oh my God!
Honestly,
amazing.
They have to let you smoke weed there. That's all I'm saying. Because
you know what I'd like to see? It's kind of genre. What I'd like to see in that kind of a venue, Kevin, one of those Spider-Man multiverse cartoons, which is already like blows you away with all the colors and everything and overwhelms you. I can't imagine what that would be like if you
they're
were
not just showing the movie on a big IMAX screen. They're making it immersive.
Right, they're engulfing you in it.
Yeah, the work that they put into to increase the scene or the location, wherever that you're in this movie. Like think of your favorite scenes in The Matrix. They took meticulous work to recreate the rest of that set around the large IMAX screen in a half dome situation.
Wait, what was the rest of the set? What set did they recreate?
Like the fourth wall.
Yeah, basically, and it's all projection. It's all, I don't know what it is, but it's 8K resolution, and so it looks freaking real when you're there. I can't imagine the big freeway chase scene in Matrix 2 if they were ever to do a Matrix 2 version of it. Remember that scene?
These things are catching on. I think that the 3D, the last sort of phase of the 3D kind of 3D is still a very seductive prospect, I know, and the idea of holographic entertainment, people talk about that a lot, but it still appears to me to be somewhat of a fad that comes and it's relatively popular for a little while and then it goes away again. It's not a genuine innovation that seems to have any staying power.
This feels like the next innovation.
This sounds like this sounds like it does. I mean, we've all become that transfixed by our phones over the last 15, 20 years. The idea of having these
one movie in this.
You think what can the cinematic experience? How can that evolve?
I paid $90 for a ticket. Not thinking I was going to get a meal out of it. It's just drinks for extra, and I still would have enjoyed it for $90. Let me just tell you that.
Could you imagine seeing The Spy Who Loved Me on that with that? Yeah, the incredible word parachute drop.
It kind of reminds me of the. You guys are familiar with Ready Player One at the book, where they talk about the flick syncs. Where you get to live a movie and you play one of the characters going through it. This reminded me of that, but brought to real life. It's amazing.
I'm guessing they could probably do something like that with one of the Tron movies.
Oh, can you imagine? Yeah. By the way, Gary, parking is free as long as you bring your ticket in to get validated. There's a big parking structure behind it. You just have to go through a metal detector. They don't want you like bringing any weapons or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
But Gary, check it out, man. What's that?
He's bound to put a knuckle duster under his cap, Gary.
Exactly. Yeah. They had I went to the 12:30 afternoon showing. They have one. I think they have like another night, and then you get to see previews of other like documentaries that they're showcasing this whole thing and all the sports events. But Gary, you're nearest. You got to go check it out, man.
Right, I can
great.
imagine. Was it the Highlander 2, the Renegade cut, the real cut? You introduced me because they got this incredible sweeping shot at the beginning where it goes around the opera house.
Yeah,
well, I'm just imagining that. I mean, that'd be crazy.
Yeah,
just imagine.
I recommend sitting in the center of the setup if you can get a ticket to the center. So
that'll probably be the next innovation or one of the planned innovations for home entertainment. You have surround sound, surround vision.
Imagine Aliens.
No, I don't want to imagine that.
I imagine
that.
Expanding the scene that they're in, you know. I mean,
I think we're in our happy place at last after that lengthy preamble there. So enough of the Muppets in the UK government at present, and anywhere else you find Muppets, call them out for what they are, everybody. We're going to get stuck into the escapism now, of course. Whether we'll remain in our happy place or not, well, we'll have to see about that.
I will not.
Son of a bitch, you did.
Welcome to Deportation Park.
They're moving parents. They do move parents.
Go low, go low. It's the Spacebook Live, fearsome out there entertainment on YouTube and Rumble for Saturday, the 27th of September, 2025 and beyond. We're back here with a far out panel and me, Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. Great to be back, everybody. I think for the conclusion, we've got a lot to get our teeth into, I don't doubt. So we've got Gary Akers back on the show again. There he is, raring to go. Kevin Wrightsell, Band and Podcast Network legend, culture clasher, and true believer. Good to have you back as well,
thank you,
sir. The rabbi from another planet here as well, straight back from the Sabbath and into battle here as ever, raring to go and playing catch up a little. We need your views about everything we missed last week. Of course we do. And the one and only Bolstrek here. Chris in fine voice and looking quite aggressive already on his new icon.
Like Superman.
But I saw Superman finally, and it was awesome. Hey. I may watch it.
It was.
Good. Oh, by the way, before we get into Aliens, can I plug something which is I found this week, and it's marvelous. It's free. Yes. It's totally free. Okay, so my goal was this. I wanted to find and edit a fan edit of Boba Fett, the book of Boba Fett, with just the Mandalorian bits to fill in the story between season 2 and season 3. Right? I thought there must be a fan edit out there. So I found something that blew me away. It's way better. He's done 4 in total. They're 2.5-hour movies, and the first one I watched on Friday, and it was essentially an edit of season 2 of Mandalorian, but it started off with Return of the Jedi, and it's like recapping that, and it tells it makes Boba Fett the main character, right? Re-edits it, and because Star Wars is of itself very episodic, it really works, and it like crypto. No, it really totally works, and it feels like. If this came out in '97, critics would call it a masterpiece because it's like Sergio Leone does Star Wars. It's great. It's like this massive epic story told across a huge vista, and they focus on Boba Fett and then they focus on Mandalorian from it, which Sergio Leone did stuff like that, right? It's like it's crazy how good it is, right? So he's done a fan edit of Boba Fett, which I'm like, and apparently he's cut out like the twink bikers, and Everybody says he's made it good. I am very excited to see it here. Let me give you the name of the guy.
YouTube, I assume?
It's KP Films at KAIPATTERSONFILMS.com. Fan it.
Watch this.
I was stunned. I was like, I just put it on to see what it's like. Normally, like, I was going to turn it off and watch Peacemaker. I was stunned. It was like, again, it's like watching a Western epic. I can't recommend it highly enough, right? And it's like so Star Wars, but so like taking a different view of the Star Wars universe. Intersects nicely with like, the Luke Skywalker canon stuff in this one.
Is this on YouTube, Rabbi?
No. This is on. I don't know. No, you have to go to his website.
Gotcha.
And it's like the files are big. They're like 4K files. You can get them up to like there's 17 gig for the 4K one, or like 10 gig for the 1080. But okay, so he's done this book of Boba Fett, and one of the most interesting is Obi-Wan Kenobi, because the maddening thing about Star Wars and the Disney era is you get stuff like Obi-Wan Kenobi, we have stuff which is brilliant. Like I like the Inquisitors, right? Just brilliant. And the Obi-Wan Kenobi depressed, brilliant. I like it when you're in the Inquisitors base and they got like the little Jedi kid who was like, been frozen in amber. Like I like how evil they are.
So
this making shit.
This begs the question, Rabbi. Are you going to request him to do this series?
No, he's already done it.
Of Alien Earth?
No, this series.
No, I would see one of his edits of it though. Honestly, I like the leisurely storytelling of it, which I understand made me separate me from it. You know what show I really like, which had a slow burn? You ever saw it, called The Leftovers? You ever see that?
I remember that one.
Yeah, I watched
that was the slowest slow burn. Most people would like shoot themselves by the time they got to the 80s. I can't go on.
Was it X-Men in that one? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Oh no, that's a different one. Or was it?
Yeah, Christopher Eccleston was in that.
Oh yeah, that's the one where you see his ding dong. Okay, yeah, that wasn't fun.
Yeah, yes, you did. Well, I mean, I don't think he's very shy and showing it. Get waves around quite freely.
All life is out there, of course.
If you got a Milton Berle, show it off.
Okay, yes, so we are here as ever on YouTube and Rumble with the Spacebook Live. We're taking your comments as the conversation rolls on wherever you are in the world or off world even. It's all fair game, and this is what it's all been working round to, citizens. It's our review of the season finale of Alien Earth. We've had a lot of questions and comments about this on social media. People have been asking me privately too. You're going to get it all from us here on this wrap-up show, of course, and you get to have your say in the comments as well. Not just on the finale, but the whole season too. So keep watching here at the Spacebook Live for more of all of that. We appreciate it's been somewhat of a Marmite experience, but there have been highlights. I think memorable factors maybe that are going to stay with us. We're going to take stock of all of that and make our way through together as ever. So yes, stick with us, and maybe we'll strike a chord with you with whatever we've got to say. And yeah, Chris is going to give it full blast, I think, as we get stuck in. Yeah. There's a lot to say, as always. But before we get into that, of course, it wouldn't be the Spacebook Live without another one of these. So over the last few months, we've been educating one another, I suppose, and preparing each other for everyday accidents, I suppose, everyday occurrences that could, Chris, happen to anyone, wherever you are in the world, and whatever your lifestyle and whatever your occupation. And this one is no different. This is a lesson for the ages, I feel.
Yes. So today, this is going to be one in several videos on drugs. Apparently, drugs are bad. Don't do drugs. You'll become a hot mess. Okay, play it, Gary.
Here it goes.
One, two, kicked out of school. 3, 4, snort some more. 5, 6, need my fix. 7, 8, feels too late.
Drugs. Do you know where they'll take you? To learn the effects of drugs and how you too can say no, visit drugsnotforme.ca.
That's actually a good commercial.
Don't do drugs, folks.
It's quite low key compared
the amazing thing is she was just drinking coffee. That's what she went for. It just destroyed her.
Oh, we've got some fun drug ones, but after all the death and depression and some of the other things I have planned, we do something a little bit lighter about a life lesson. Don't be like this girl. And they're way too happy at the end of this as well. See, look at that. That's not normal. Nobody.
Well, I mean, except for the quick shots of the needle marks on her arm at the beginning, I was going, well, this is probably what most kids this age do on weekends anyway. Cut their own hair, mess up their room.
Oh yeah, things are crazy nowadays. Thank God my kids are older.
It's Canada. They do like the drugs here. That could be like half my neighbors on any given day. Fun times. So next week, so I'll take a poll. Who wants industrial accidents and who wants a car crash?
Car crash. Car crash.
Can I get a train wreck in there?
I'll have to look. I know there's train track videos. I don't know how many of them are graphic. We're out of ladies being punched by gentlemen.
Do you have any more, Chris? Do you have any more like workplace accidents, like that person falling off the ladder into the glass display case?
Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome.
I do have some more of people falling.
Okay.
So we'll have to go through and I'll find something fun.
I think we'll definitely have to run some sort of poll. And people can pick their sort of greatest hits as well. And and obviously, if we've ever helped anybody from sustaining any workplace or domestic accidents, then let us know that as well, because this is a public service, Chris. I mean, let's not forget.
Yes. And hashtag drugs are bad.
They are.
Yeah. The only drug that I need is life.
Jeez.
We're going to get back. We're going to clip that. That's going to be an excellent soundbite. Thank you again for another absolute cracker, a thundercracker here with the Nuclear Man. In the coming weeks, we're going to be revisiting some of our other geeky favourites, other genres and other franchises that we like to talk about here at the Spacebook Live, as well as our regular news updates. We'll be catching us and you up on movies and TV, everything that's coming up throughout the rest of 2025, as well as taking a few pit stops here to celebrate some great movies from the past and not so great movies from the not that distant past as well. So stay tuned for all of that and our regular physical media shows too. It's all coming your way here at the Spacebook Live, as always. Okay, I think we need to get it up on the view screen, process what we've seen at some point this week, compare our notes and tastes as ever, and everybody in the live chat can join in with all of that as well. Let's go.
Aliens! Yo, Hicks! Something big is in the air!
It's the alien flying queen! And her gruesome gorillas! Send in the ultimate space marine, Atax, disguised in his big, bad bug suit.
He sneaks in and takes him out.
But the flying queen unmasks him! Send in Hicks and the heavily armored evac fighter!
Send in the Marines!
Blast them!
Yeah!
And bottle them! And it's Bye-Bye Bug, each sold separately.
Aliens!
We can see clearly from here. We can see all between us, I'm sure, for a last session. For now, in the banquette, staring down the gaping hole. That is the finale of Alien Earth. So it's been 2 months now, pretty much, where week by week we've been savouring, sort of, FX and Hulu's 8-part series here. They took 40 years to bring Alien to television, but it's here at last. I'm not sure what sort of broader cultural impact it's had over these 8 weeks. There are probably still some people who don't even know it's arrived or found out later in the day. I do think you get that a lot of the time with genre series, in bringing in the all-round creative Noah Hawley, I suppose, who delivered very distinctive high-end genre programming attached to Fargo and X-Men. Executive producer Ridley Scott, I think he may have saw something of himself in the director stroke producer. Maybe someone, I think he was hoping for somebody who understood the appeal of the franchise, and particularly the original 1979 film, and in expanding it in its universe parallel to that really distinctive film, has Hawley been successful in retaining the unique flavor of that IP and ideally taking us somewhere different that we've never been before, and tell stories ideally that can't be told anywhere else. It can't be argued that for our Alien watchers here, it's undoubtedly proven to be a bit of a mixed bag. Now, with the conclusion of the season, we see the full story that Hawley has wished to tell. Or do we? And what have they delivered across the map of all the things that we expect simply from anything attached to this brand? Let's find out. A few more aliens, this time running around in the final episode. Now, Rabbi, you weren't here to talk about episode 7, but largely you've really, really enjoyed it up to now.
I've absolutely adored the show. It's my favorite show in years and years, right? And I find it absolutely fascinating as well that you have many people, fans of the same thing, who want completely different things, right? Chris,
yes.
you and they want completely different things. I think for me, an Alien needs to be kind of like a creepy alien life form, sci-fi, weirdly sexual somehow, but you're not sure how. You know, but you know it's there, right? And I think telling interesting science fiction stories, right? And I think this is I got exactly what I wanted from this. Like I like the leisurely pace of the storytelling. I can totally hear people get mad at it, right? I wasn't bothered by the some of the stupidity in the decision making of the characters, because I'm like, I don't care. I'm enjoying the ride, and I love the questions it was asking about life and reality. Essentially, it was creating a new life form in the hybrids, right? But like I've been reading up on what Hollywood wants to do, and he sees this as like a 5 to 8 season show, with this being the prelude. Right, this is like the opening chapter.
We will come to that later in the show. We're going to start with talking about the finale itself. Then we've got some more open-ended questions later on in the conversation. I mean, what I find as somebody who tries to watch a broad spectrum, I suppose, of genre programming, I try not to stay in my comfort zone too much, because otherwise you never find things that will ever take you by surprise. And quite often, I do watch films or TV shows, and I think, you know what? That's that film. I didn't know I needed that, but I did. It's the right film at the right time, or the right show at the right time, or I find something by accident, and I think, I never would have watched something like that usually if I hadn't have caught 5 or 10 minutes. But when something is attached to a brand that we know inside out or have a really subjective connection to, then I think it's understandable that we can sort of get bent out of shape if we feel that whatever they're doing in the here and now somehow doesn't align or doesn't fit in, or just, I think we're aware when it conflicts somewhere, even if we can't all articulate it.
It's interesting. One of the shows that we have on our network called Time Warp it's a vanity project that I came up with, where I wanted to cover an entire year of movies, usually within the 80s and 90s. And what it's forced me to do in a most wonderful way, and I'll relate this to this show here, is that I make a list of all these films. A lot of them I haven't seen, a lot of them I have, but I go out of my way to try to find these movies either on physical media or streaming somewhere to watch these and say, I'll say I have not seen this movie from 1990 or 1984, but we talk about it, and we talk about, is this sounds like something you'd want to see, and maybe one of us in the panel has seen it. If none of us have seen it, we talk about it, wondering like, is this worth watching? And we put that out to the viewers. But when it comes to this show and all alien related stuff, I'm always open to it because I'm such a big fan. When I find someone like a creator that kind of gets it and understands and is passionate about it, and especially if I'm hearing the right things ahead of time and I'm watching interviews like with Noah Hawley, you know, I know when it comes to any episodic television of stuff that we're fans of, there's going to be some episodes we're not fans of, and there's going to be some episodes. The question is the whole season, after you've watched everything, has it still fallen together in something that you would like and rewatch and recommend it to other people? And when it comes to stuff that, you know, I find is surprising, I look for that throughout the episode or the episodes. There's something that came out is like, for example, you got Mr. Oculus here. I don't know. Let's nominate this guy for a best supporting actor. Maybe. I don't know. This is what the Alien franchise needed. We know the Xenomorphs. We know the facehuggers. They are scary as shit. We love them. We'd like to see something new from them. But when you could bring something else to the table that is equally as scary and has become a fan favorite, and you know, yes, give me the synthetics, but give me other versions of them. We saw other versions of the synthetics throughout this, and it was wonderful. And we also, and I just want to throw this out for later, Dan, I would love to have a topic with all of us talking about Sydney Chandler's character, because I've got questions. If I've missed something, I need you guys to point it out, because this left questions at the end of this episode that I need to talk
maybe
about.
we'll come to those in the second half of the show. Maybe.
Yeah.
This was episode 8, entitled "The Real Monsters." There was a one-line official blurb here, just that one line, giving nothing away. All they said was a new power dynamic emerges. It was directed again by Dana Gonzalez. I think she directed episode 2 and the flashback episode, which I think was episode 5, written by Noah Hawley himself. And as expected, I think we all could see this coming really. The hybrids, led by Wendy, they seize control of the Neverland facility, and they take it directly to the various adults that have imprisoned them and sort of experimented on them, I think, as they see it. And the episode features a final confrontation between the corporate rivals involved, which leads to an arresting conclusion come cliffhanger. And I think the pace of the episode itself moves a lot more agreeably, shall we say. Each of the characters gets, if not a resolution, then arrives at a key place in their development, which hasn't always been the case as the series has gone along. So, Gary, how did you find the finale? You know, we've been watching this week in, week out now for the full 7 weeks. We started with a double bill. What are your thoughts on this final one?
Boy, having me go after 2 such positive reviews of it, Dan, you always make me feel self-conscious.
Oh, I haven't reviewed
Don't
it yet.
worry. Do not worry.
So, okay.
Again,
So,
this show is the definition of divisive, right?
Okay.
People watch it means have a totally different experience. There's nothing to worry about.
yeah. So, to paraphrase a tagline, in my living room, no one could hear me scream. You know, and I was doing a lot of that during this episode, which I thought was just a completely pointless anticlimax for 8 episodes. I don't need everything to be resolved, but I would have appreciated if one single thing had been resolved or paid off. I mean, there was so much that it seemed to take place off screen that the narrative was jumping. I mean, you know, in this episode, since we're focused just on the finale, you know, we were talking about the Matrix before. Wendy is now Neo. The rest of the kids by the end are like something out of Westworld. You know, they went from relatively human acting kids, and now they're all the stoic, we hate humanity characters in Westworld. This show turned me off Peter Pan for life. You know, I think next season, you know, maybe since it's Disney, everything can center around Snow White. Boy Cavalier can create 7 new kids and name them after the dwarves. But what I realized, especially in this episode, is what this entire show was lacking, which is a staffer who knew anything about continuity. Because at the end of the last episode, Nibs, the redhead, gets tased, she's convulsing, and then she stops moving. And at the beginning of this episode, oh, everything's fine. She's good. She's sitting there talking. All is well.
I had to rewind because I thought I missed something.
Yeah, and the guy Andrew, the scientist, at the they focus a scene in the previous episode where he gets dragged off the raft by the shoulder, immersed in the water, and it's a close point of view shot as he slowly sinks underneath the water, and we think, well, that's all that we're going to see him. And then the first shot of this episode, oh, he's fine and washed up on the beach some distance away, and it's the same day, so there's been no high tide yet, so I'm not really sure how that happened. There's just no logical motivation for anything that the characters do. The two kids, Smee and the other one, I'm going, why are they tying up Kirsch? Because last time they saw him, he helped them escape, and now suddenly he's an enemy. I'm not really sure what's going on there. I'm baffled as to why Wendy, who went through the same exact process of whatever was done, the mind transfer, which is what I think it was, whatever. So why does she alone have all these magical powers? Not really sure. One of my favorite is where Sylvia decides to take a nice leisurely stroll to put flowers out on the graves while the alarms are going off and all the Xenos are running loose. I thought that was kind of odd. Kirsch's motivation turned out to be nothing. You think, okay, who is he working for? Why is he doing all these contradictory things? Not really sure. Wendy, in the first episode, nothing was more important to Wendy than finding her brother. That was it. That's all she wanted to do. Now she's, berating him and yelling at him. We get the most frustrating thing to me. We get teased all season long about the eyeball embedding itself in someone so we can have a conversation with it, and at least get some kind of little motivation about, what it is. And what does it do now? It possesses a dead guy and wanders off into the woods.
I was convinced it was going to go to her.
Yeah,
her
and with Boy Cavalier, which at the very beginning of the show, the text told us that this AI race was the fate of the planet depended on this AI race between all the corporations. That's what they were solely focused on. And at the very beginning, Boy Cavalier's character, this $1 trillion research project, with the hybrids, and then he abandons them when all the other aliens show up, and he wants to kind of play with them, and then he becomes obsessed with just the eye alien, and then you have to toss out a line about him having ADHD, I guess, to justify the fact that his character was all over the place.
I wouldn't say it seems like each scene is written by a different person, but it does jump around a lot, and it's not. It doesn't seem to have been whether this has had fewer drafts than the average screenplay would have. I just think it lacks that sort of panache that a real screenplay feels that it has, so that everything feels, all the constituent parts. That was nearly a Freudian slip. All the constituent parts feel like they are belonging of one another, because you're quite right. The tones seem to change all the time.
Here's the biggest problem with the tone when on an alien show, no matter if it takes place on Earth or in the ship. Cumulatively, I'm sure there was a couple of scenes here and there, but I'm talking in a general sense over 8 episodes. Nobody was acting as scared as they should have in this situation. On the island, on the ship,
nobody seemed that phased. And it didn't.
I thought the security guards did.
It didn't.
Yeah,
it didn't seem to.
The female doctor, when she encounters Xenomorph, that she was terrified.
Well, like I said, a couple of quick things, but there should have been.
It didn't seem to matter to me.
Yeah.
Whatever sirens were going off, whatever the incidental music was doing, however, whatever the lighting was telling us to play with us, our senses as viewers.
Yeah.
You're quite right. Everybody on screen looked like they were kind of just having a wander around, and that none of it really mattered.
There should be an atmosphere. There should be an atmosphere where everybody is thinking they're like 2 seconds away from death, and everything is around every corner. When the eye gets, when she throws the eye around and it scuttles down the the hole. I would be running the crap out of that room as fast as I could. I would not be walking over to the hole and looking down it to see what happened to it. And I mean, I just think, and the fact that
Gary, that was the only moment of tension for me. And I don't even care about the character of Hermit, but it was when the eye thing, the Oculus thing was loose.
Yes.
And okay, where is it going to get in? Is it going to get in? Is he going to be able to fight it off? What on earth is going to happen? Is he going to be able to smash it with something, squash it with something? But of course, if they do that, they've lost their baby Yoda, haven't they, Kev? I mean, Kev, you seem a little bit more upbeat, generally speaking. I think we've been on 2 or 3 shows with us now. You've heard what Gary's had to say there. I mean, what do you feel about this finale?
I didn't give my thoughts on the finale. I was just kind of giving an overview. And I actually agree with Gary where I was expecting more answers than more questions. And when I watched it for the first time, I was kind of going, oh, really? So but then I was like, oh, okay. So he definitely wrote this for another season, but I didn't hear anything about it getting renewed or not. So to me, it felt a little anticlimactic to that way. And all the concerns that Gary have is totally valid. There was a lot of questions, but going through this series, there's a lot of stuff that I've stopped nitpicking because I just want to see what they're going to give me. And then also, what are they going to let me try to figure out for myself?
Because it's so interconnected. It's so interconnected, Kev. You think, well, I can't just judge this based on a quarter of the story.
Exactly. But I so wanted to see more questions answered. And that's why I get Gary's gripes.
I think it's a fair criticism, right? That it's very much written as an introduction, right? It should have had a more definitive conclusion. It feels somewhat arrogant that like they know they're coming back to tell more of the story. Right, and again, I love this show. I absolutely I had no problem with it whatsoever. I was just enjoying it, right? But I was interested to find out that Adrian Edmondson was an android. Right?
Yeah, I hadn't realised that, but I was starting to suspect so last week, Rabbi.
It never really like occurred to me. I mean, the trouble is, where is it going with her and the alien? Like, why do they have this thing? I mean, and you can't really evaluate the story till you know that's the point of the story, clearly, right? And we haven't got to it yet. So, I think it's a fair criticism.
But you could say, Rabbi, looking at it sort of, I'm trying to be a bit more generous, I suppose, in that when this season started, the storyline started to open up and expand with Boyd Cavalier and his aims of the hybrid project, what he wanted for them, what he was testing, what he was pushing technologically and societally, and why. By the end of the finale, we see it has all played out, and he is going to get the answers to the questions that he was looking for. But it's just that as things played out in a way that he didn't expect and didn't desire. But in the case of that character, who I find fiercely irritating, by the way, on paper, you think, okay, it has got sort of where we expect it to go, where it was signposting, but it hasn't got there by a more predictable route. Things have got out of hand for him. That's as generous as I think I can be with the overarching story. Because I agree with what Kevin and Gary have said about it. I do think it's all over the place, and it just seems to have lacked a little TLC. Either Noah Hawley's been indulged too much, or not enough, and he's been held back in some way. I don't know what it is, but I know that I don't feel it's working, and I think that some of the elements of it are so conspicuous, in that things happen not necessarily because the plot needs them to, but it just, you feel like you've missed a bit here and there of lots of character development. One week somebody is I mean, the character of what was her name? See, I still can't remember most of their names because they've got two names each. So it's
the jealous girl. You mean the
yeah,
jealous
yeah,
girl.
the girl who was claiming to be the favourite.
Yeah,
they started to open her up, and that got quite interesting. Then there was the girl who thought she was pregnant, and I kind of latched onto her. I thought, where's that going? Turns out that's not going anywhere either. And I see when I look back at it, I think, okay, that got all of the characters to a place where they felt that they needed to act, that a line had been crossed. But even so, they'd opened up that character, and I think it's unfair for them to leave it sort of stagnate there. And it's the same with looking back to episode 1 and 2, just as you said there, Rabbi, this was very much pinned on Wendy's relationship with her brother. They have barely said 2 words to one another, probably since that 2-part opener.
Right. Again, I was really hoping that the eye monster was going to like leap inside his head.
Me too.
I thought that would have been the right development for him.
Rabbi, how much better? And this is my opinion. How much better would it have been for instead of just the kids going, "We're in charge now," which came off to me like a tantrum, they're just super strong now, but they're having a tantrum. For the eye to actually possess somebody and then say something which would be like a game changer or shift something, and then you'd be like on pins and needles for next season.
That's the
panache I definitely agree. Like again, I think it was overindulgent to make this like this is like an introduction chapter. I mean, like I hope he does get a second season. He probably is, right? But they viewed this as a proof of concept. But I think it needed a more definitive finale.
Yeah, you can't spend this amount of time developing a property, a production. Sorry, you can't spend this amount of time developing a production, have it cost this amount of money, pin it to an IP that had so much prestige around it, and treat it as a proof of concept. This isn't. If that is true, I consider that to be a major error of judgment. Chris, you've been very quiet up to now. You're gathering your thoughts and thinking of the happier times before you unleash the beast. I gather you didn't have a good time either. I can't say that I did.
Hi, Dan. How are you today? How's everybody doing? Okay, I need to say something positive. I finally saw Superman, and it was awesome.
Yes.
Okay, there. That's it.
It was a lot of fun.
So Dan, I heard this. I heard this rumor. I've been reported a while ago that they were going to do an alien show, and I got really excited. I'm like, alien show, good. I want my alien movie, and they said it's going to be on Earth. My God, this is what I wanted back in 1993. This is even better. And then we got the alien show. They called it an alien show. Okay, so let's see. Use an example. Okay, so Dan, okay, you and me were going house hunting. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna go look for a house. This is a true story. So I'm looking for a house, and they got the ad, and you see the ad. I'm like, now this was back in 2010. So the ad for a house, it was like 200,000, or no, it was 229, which was a lot in 2010. But well, go look at this house. They got sample houses. So we look at the ads, and it's like big house, 2 floors. It's got a nice garage, all hardwood floors. It's got a huge balcony. The fancy appliances and stuff. So I go to this house. Me and my ex-lady 15 years ago. So we go to the development. Okay, we'd like to see this house. Oh no, that one doesn't actually exist. What? No, that's just a concept for something that we might be doing. But I'm here to see this house. I'm like, well, no, what do you have in this price range? We got this over here. So what they brought me to was a shack. You see, the tiny houses shows. Well, it's kind of like that. It was basically a little shack, had like, stinky carpets and everything else, appliances that looked like they were out of the 70s. So the reason that I'm using this as a comparison is I kind of felt similar to this with my alien show. So I was promised to see a nice house, and I saw a shack with gross, smelly carpets. So we had the alien show. So I didn't actually see an alien show. So I'm still waiting for this alien show I was promised. I think aliens on Earth, I think it sounds like a fascinating idea. And I'm really hoping that they do this someday. Because, it's not like I've been waiting 32 years to see this. So I watched in this. So Dan, I tuned into this show called Alien Earth, and I'm really excited. And you remember, but I had some trepidations, if you remember, a couple months ago when we started talking about this going into it. So I feel like this is the situation with that house. I was sold an Alien show, and instead I got a show about, as I call them, Teenage Mutant Ninja Synths, with occasional cameos from aliens. Probably the most annoying villain I've ever seen. Like that's not that I advocate violence, but he has a very punchable face. And that performance is something special, but not really in the way they wanted. The idea, as I've said before, the idea of can you transfer the soul into a robot? Is that true? I say no. That's just my own subjective opinion. So we got occasional visits from the aliens. But Dan, remember if we go back to 10 weeks ago or whatever it is, I gave my pre-alien rant because I have been known to complain sometimes. You remember there were things that I said that would make me very, very, what's the word? Grumpy if they happened. So one was an alien show where our focus wasn't in on the aliens. So that's point one. Point two was a mystery box show with conspiracies. So we got that. And what was, now, does everybody remember the one thing that was going to make me very, very, very grumpy to do with the ending?
Right.
What do we hate about streaming services and streaming shows? And the one thing that I didn't want above everything else, the one thing that I didn't want, cliffhanger. I wanted a complete story. So we got a bunch of story, and Gary actually did a very eloquent job of answering everything that didn't make any sense. So the aliens were side characters. Literally, they were side. Look, he's actually clinging to the side of the cage because he's a side character. He's just like, remember me? I'm supposed to be in this. I'm like, no, Mr. Alien. No, you're not in this. You go away. We're going to talk about the synths now. You go eat a carrot or whatever. Go eat a cow or go eat that poor sheep. Whatever you're going to eat, go eat it, alien. We don't want you. We want to learn about the synths. Now, with regards to Kevin and Rabbi, I do understand why you both like it. And this is what I was saying last week, where, you go into certain things and not everybody is going to look for the same thing. We have different expectations, and the Alien franchise is, to use a terrible word, very diverse, but diverse in the literal meaning of diverse, where we do have different stories. We have the first two masterpieces, Ridley Scott and James Cameron, gave us two of the best movies ever made. Then it kind of meandered for a little bit. So I could see why you guys liked it, but I go into it sort of with personally what I wanted, and not everybody wanted what I wanted. What I wanted was a little bit over the top. I wanted an alien blood fest. I wanted the aliens in Times Square. I wanted limbs flying all over the place. I wanted chest bursters bursting everywhere.
You want the end of American Werewolf in London. That's what you wanted.
Yes.
That would be good. Alien versus werewolf.
It's crazy because that's super not what I want.
That's what I'm saying, Rabbi. We all want different things. So,
we wanted this guy dismembered.
I want this guy chest bursting while his head is being ripped off.
Cavalier, you wanted Cavalier's
from head. And at the same time, somebody is punching him in the face because he sucks. And not in the way they wanted him to suck. He's just
in your defense on this as well, Chris. Because you're quite right. We all want different things from this, but in the promotion of Alien Earth, if you remember, there were a lot of teaser posters for this, a hell of a lot. Some of them were very, very conceptual, of the alien with the planet Earth in its jaws. We've used it several times on the YouTube and Rumble editions of this show as artwork to hype people up. So there's those, but there was also a set of posters too, where there was a face hugger on the face of the Statue of Liberty, for example, which did imply a heavy alien presence amongst the general population of the Earth.
I have the best comparison for that as a horror fan. The best comparison I can make to this is a legendary case of mismarketing, because they didn't have the budget to do what they wanted to do, but claimed they were going to do it anyway. Who has seen Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan? I actually feel the same way here. So for those of you who don't know, and this is how I feel about Alien, the same way I felt about, although I actually do like Jason Takes Manhattan with what they did. But what happened there is very similar to what happened here. So it came out in 1989, and it was like on every every horror VHS tape you had, they bought space to play this ad. And it was basically, so the idea was with the scenes they showed was Jason was going to go on a rampage through Manhattan. What we got was an hour and 15 minutes on a boat and 10 minutes in Manhattan, most of which was filmed in Vancouver because that's all they could afford. And the only scenes of Jason in Manhattan that we saw in the trailer were in that 15 minutes. So that's the best. I like giving my examples because I guess I do have the ADHD and I go all over the place.
Brilliant example.
I
well,
like
to be fair, Chris, a movie called Jason Takes Vancouver probably wouldn't gross as much as.
No. Jason would be the least scary thing in Vancouver now, but that's exactly what I felt though with this Alien franchise. Because remember, and I think even with the first 2 episodes, and when we were talking about this months ago, we thought we were. Now, granted, we all wanted different things about this, but we wanted our Alien Earth movie, which I think that the time frame that they chose was stupid. I think, like what I was saying last time, this should have taken place after all the other Alien movies, then they could have gone just nuts doing whatever. Yeah, so it should have gone after Resurrection. Even though
wasn't it? They say that he doesn't consider Alien 3 or
well, this isn't an Alien show anyway. But what we were sold was Aliens on Earth. It wasn't Aliens on Earth. The aliens were barely in it. And in terms of on Earth, it was on an island. It was like Aliens Jurassic Park. Except Jurassic Park at least gave me dinosaurs. So this is Jason Takes Manhattan, but the Alien version. We were sold something else. Ed, we got something different. So Dan, my final summation of this, by the time we got to the cliffhanger, I actually swore I knew it was coming because I'm like, there's 5 minutes left. They're not gonna they're not gonna wrap this up. But I said many a bad word when the cliffhanger happened. So my final analysis is, I can get why some people like this, and we're pretty much we're close to even on this, in this panel. 2 people loved it. I think 2 people didn't like it, and I loathed it. So I will say you did not give me what I wanted. But if you enjoyed this, just don't get me wrong. I don't like this for the reason that I haven't liked everything for the past decade. That wasn't the issue here. So that's very refreshing, where we're not talking about how woke or ideological
it's not woke.
So that's not the problem. This is like we've gone back 10 years where we can criticize things as the thing rather than as what it's trying to push with us. So I would rather watch this than any of the things that I've reviewed over the past decade. So that it's a nice change to, like, we're basically like back in Fant 4-stick. It wasn't woke, but it was one of the worst things we've ever seen. I'm not going to say this is the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm going to say this is one of the most disappointing things I've seen in recent memory. So I gave my predictions. The things I wanted, there were 3 things that I did not want. They gave me all 3 of those things. So 3 strikes and you're out. But since this is not my podcast, I'm not going to say any naughty words because I don't want to get Dan in trouble. So this series can go shove itself up the first portion of the show. Yeah. Oh yeah. Dan's already in trouble. So this show can go shove itself up the bum with the twirling lawnmower there. I think I've allowed.
I was actually kind of surprised, just super quick. It felt to me like the show, for another show I watched, Lost.
Oh God.
And this is already making a lot of the storytelling errors that show made. Took them 6 years. Took them 6 years to make that, and they've already done a lot of this in just 8 episodes.
Well, and Dan, that's why I hate this kind of storytelling. Yes. J.J. Abrams is the king of this. Lost was one, and Person of Interest was the one that turned me off to it forever. But I think to use another, I like comparing things to things because it's fun. But comparing this to Lost, it was a similar thing with Lost because I say probably the first 3, maybe 4 seasons were brilliant. They're building up this whole thing. And this is before we got sick of mystery boxes. Then the 5th season, I'm like, oh, this is not good. And then the 6th season, which I will call "What the hell was that?" So and that was 15 years ago. So I think personally that's why I hate mystery box telling, because it sucks, and I'm very disappointed because Rabbi told me Severance goes that way too. So maybe I'll skip that. So did not get what I wanted out of it, but if you did, perfectly reasonable. And I will say this: it was not woke. Thank you, Disney.
I like you were talking about Alien 3 earlier. Like I really like Alien 3. The director's cut of it. I mean, that to me is like feels very much the Alien franchise.
I saw it in theaters, Rabbi. I saw it with my cousin. We were both very sad.
I don't care what version of Alien 3 exists, director, non-director, fan edit, whatever. If Newt and Hicks still aren't in it, I ain't watching that one.
Amen.
You should have get what's the name? Blomkamp wanted to do to.
Oh yeah, that was about to happen. That was about to completely ignore Alien 3, and I was all on board for that.
I think we've mentioned that on 3 out of the 8 editions of this show. When it comes to the conclusion of this, and the moment where Wendy takes sort of center stage really and delivers the line, "Now we rule." And I think that was meant to promote a kind of shiver up the spine in the same way that, for example, the very final scene of a movie like Planet of the Apes did. I think we were meant to be chilled by this. And of course, but that doesn't ultimately happen. They've removed the connection that I felt between myself and this character, so I don't care about her anymore. Yeah. I'm not that keen on any of them, to tell you the truth. But so I didn't find this episode a satisfying final episode. I didn't hate it. Well, I'll come to why in a moment. So I didn't hate this at all. I did find it almost compelling and certainly engaging. I just felt there was a lot of stopping and starting, and it lacked a sort of cohesion, which I think that we used to have on TV, not just in genre programming, but generally. I think it was something that was accepted. These things were a bit more fit for purpose. But when it came to this final scene, and I tried to steer clear of reviews, but there's a lot of anger about this conclusion and the sort of cliffhanger ending aspect to it. You see, but I don't, and to be honest, I have been debating this with myself now for a few days. I saw this a couple of days ago. Is this a cliffhanger ending? Because when you take a step back, as I said earlier on, the story as it's set out at the beginning, what Cavalier's aims are of this project, you could say that by the final scene, that project has reached a conclusion, that experiment has reached a conclusion, and it's not the conclusion that he planned for, and the experiment didn't take the form in which he had set it out to, but he'd got to the end point anyway that he sort of anticipated. So you could argue that this needn't have been a cliffhanger ending. I could totally have bought this as an endpoint for this story, a natural endpoint where a kind of inevitability has taken over. Events and natural order have reached a conclusion, and something that Cavalier couldn't have stopped even if he'd have tried. He thought he was in control of this, but there was no way he was going to control it. I think that's a tried and tested sci-fi trope in and of itself, and I'd have been happy with this conclusion. I wouldn't have viewed it as a cliffhanger that needed to have been followed up on even, but for one thing. The reason why I don't think it was planned, and I can't sort of give it any credit for this being any kind of viable conclusion, even to just one season of TV, it is the fact that for all of that to work, you really do have to feel like all of the characters that have been showcased within a story, all of the interests of the various protagonists and antagonists, that they have had an arc of themselves, that we've got to know all of the characters, what they represented, what they wanted, and whether they've got it or not. We've had all of these characters only developed to a very minimal extent, even the lead character. And so that's why it doesn't work on its own terms. And at the time he made this, and I'm going to talk about this in a little while, this was a one and done event series. That's how it was marketed. And so therefore I have to mark it down. I have to mark it down as a big fail, with a bit more attention to detail. And they've had 8 hours to play with too. So much wasted time. So much. To be honest, I would have even ditched the whole flashback thing. As much as I enjoyed that episode, that screen time would have probably been best served developing these characters. Because as it turns out, I couldn't feel the weight of this because I still don't know any of these people.
See, I feel like the only thing I really don't know about them is their names. They were named horribly. I finally got that one was called Smee and one was called Slightly. Right, and I kind of like that, but they're named for you to forget who they are. Like I haven't. Again, I'm talking about who loved the show, and I have no idea what like the jealous one's name is, right? Or the red-headed one. I think it's Rose. Is it me? I can't remember.
Nibs is the redhead.
Oh, Nibs. Yeah, no, it's designed for you not to be able to remember it. It really is. It's very frustrating.
I think we can all agree.
Me, again, I feel like they got quite interested. This is an artificial life form that they're developing. Right?
All the names we can agree are confusing and they haven't all set with us. But I did want to touch on what you said, Dan, about whether you felt, whether this is a cliffhanger or not.
Yeah.
Technically, it's not a cliffhanger because we got some questions answered, but they left a lot unanswered. When you want to go back through the history of television of cliffhangers and then the show is canceled, there's a long list. Just go to Fox Archives and they'll show you that.
That's right.
Space Above and Beyond, all these other great science fiction stuff.
Alf, anyone?
Yeah, exactly. But it's, like I keep going back, to what you guys said earlier about how there just wasn't enough questions answered. And so I'm left a little bit like, but if they said right now, season 2 starts filming next March. Okay, fine. But we haven't gotten that yet.
Yeah.
And so it's a little frustrating.
I mean, the fact that I'm still reeling over the possibility, I think it was what Rabbi said about he envisions this as like an 8-season show. I thought, well, considering how long TV shows take to produce, what are we talking, like 25 years to make that happen if you're going to do 8 seasons? But the one thing I also want to circle back to, what Rabbi was talking about, the fan edits. If you would edit out of this show, take just the stuff that has to deal with the AI, the nature of humanity, what is consciousness, all of that, which I think we've all agreed over the last several weeks is a really, really fascinating concept and would warrant a show of its own.
Timely
leave out the alien stuff, leave out the stupid people doing stupid things with the alien, just focusing on the conceptual thing around like what are these kids now, what are these beings, and just edit all in together. You would have maybe 1 episode's worth. You would have maybe 45 minutes worth of stuff about that.
Like that stuff, and I especially like the stuff with Smee and Slightly.
There needed to be more of that. There needed to be more balance. The show was unbalanced.
Gary, I had a theory about that when I was watching this yesterday. I think Noah Hawley, I can't pronounce anything today. Maybe I'm just too grumpy. I think he had an idea for a very, very different show. I have a feeling that the synth thing may have been a different thing all on its own. And then he had the opportunity to do an Alien franchise. And to me, it's almost like he tried melding the two.
Yeah.
Because I think, the synth story, it definitely needs to be cut down. If that was a separate show all by itself without aliens, I probably wouldn't be as grumpy. And the questions that are raised are very interesting. And we could have many a discussion about that. But it seems to me he's like, Noah Hawley, like, I have this great idea. Well, we're not sure, but we have this we're looking to do Alien. Oh, great, I'll take that. And then just melded the two of them together, and it didn't work. Because it seems to me this was a whole other story idea being shunted into an Alien movie. I don't know if, and I think, Kevin, you're nodding, so I think either that or you're looking up and down, but I think Kevin might be in agreement.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the best rated episode of this season gave us that, the flashback episode. And I was looking at the IMDb ratings of all of these episodes, and that one by far is the highest rated one, because it felt like a mini movie, and it felt like what I think all can agree what we wanted to see more of.
Well, Kev, in itself, in its own boundaries of that hour and 5 minute screen time, it was completely cohesive. So all the things that I was just talking about the main cast, how we don't really know what they want, why they're there, all of those things, every single character in the flashback was pretty well formed, well developed, enough to the point that we thought, okay, I can see the archetypes that they represent, what they are on that mission for, and even when some of them die, I actually did feel it. And yet that was just 1 hour of an 8-hour series, and they handled it perfectly fine then. But writ large, across the rest of the 7, they couldn't seem to do it. And I don't know whether it's through overthinking, overconfidence, or somebody's just pulling the plug and saying, okay, you've had long enough now. Whatever you've got, you've been filming this, you've been making this for 5 years. Whatever it is you've got, we're putting it on now, whether you like it. I don't know what it is. I just know that this was a tougher watch than it should have been, and that I feel like not exactly a hugely disenfranchised Alien fan, but I think it could have been so much better. I did kind of enjoy this finale. I did feel it had more of a clip to it. I did feel there were more highlights, more interesting moments, and memorable sights, at least, that made me sort of sit up and pay attention. I didn't look at my phone, and I didn't have to go back and play something back again, which is standout for this show. But the reason why I felt it moved a lot quicker, and that it had a momentum and a watchability to it that most of the episodes didn't have, is because I developed a bit of a hack. So this is my confession. The episode had been on for about 3 minutes, and it was doing its usual thing of just very steadily to people kind of whispering, going in and out of rooms. I thought, fucking hell, I can't do this again. So I developed this hack. I found out that as I was watching on my other system, I could change this speed. So I put it up to 1.25 times speed, and this corrected everything. So all the people, I watched the entire episode past that point at 1.25 speed.
But how can you get past the high pitched voices? I just can't do that on podcast either.
Exactly, and that's what I felt. So I did it at first to amuse myself, right? And after about 2 minutes, I thought, hang on, the characters, the conversations, these sound more natural now. The voices didn't sound altered at all because it's only 1.25, but people were moving in and out of rooms, moving a lot more naturally, conversations happening in the way that people talk to one another, and the pace was a lot better because it was simply moving quicker. I thought, it was as if, Kev, they'd made it at this speed and actually slowed it down to drag it out to 47 minutes in the first place, to the point where I thought I should have been watching the entire thing at 1.25 speed. I would have probably had a much better time. So yeah, this very much saved it for me. A life hack, a geek hack, if you like. If you watch this at 1.25 speed, it is a lot better. You get a bit more of your day back, and you don't resent it quite so much. So
there's been a lot of Disney programming with superheroes and Star Wars stuff that would fall under that category of, is this, we wanted more episodes, but then did we? Because there's a lot of padding here,
But Dan,
this is in many respects, this is against my religion doing this sort of thing, Gary. Yeah. As a creative myself, this is the first time I've ever done it. I feel dirty for doing it, but I couldn't face another trudge through. So I resent Noah Hawley, FX, Hulu, and Ridley Scott for taking me somewhere that I didn't want to go.
I got another theory about that, Dan. So this is time for another comparison, but this will make sense to what you just said. So I'm sure we all did this in school. You've got an assignment. Give me 6 pages on your favorite tree, and we were all lazy. And you've got the font adjuster things, and you can adjust the spacing, and So you make the font slightly bigger, and you space the paragraphs a little bit more, thinking nobody will notice, but they always notice. That's what this feels like in film form. It was too short, and he wanted to, and Disney said, no, it has to be this long. Okay, so their idea of increasing the font size and the spacing in between was moving slower, talking slower in rooms about things and the nature of existence and various plans and things of that nature.
Yeah,
that makes sense now, Dan. I did not think of that until you brought that up right now. This drags, and that's why I'm actually going to try that myself.
May I ask the I was thinking about the hybrids, because I didn't feel they were blank. They were undeveloped. I felt they were more like discovering who they were. They're like a blank slate essentially, and they're writing themselves. Which I found pretty interesting. Like
it was Rabbi
up with that's going on. But
but it's a completely different show.
Yeah, for me, I looked at it like one of those old ITC shows where you had to have like 2 punch-ups in an episode, right? So this one, I felt for me, I got enough alien action every episode, right? I felt you got a face hugger attack, you had an alien creeping around, you had some kind of alien-y shit happening at some time.
Yeah.
Well, so I think, so for me, I like that he sort of used the alien mythos as a condiment onto his story, right? But I kind of like that. I think
that's actually, it's funny that you bring that up, Rabbi, because that's what I was going to ask all of you. Because on the panel, I'm the only one who basically has not followed this franchise in all of its permutations. I kind of dropped after Alien 3 because I thought that's all. But all of you have a much more encyclopedic knowledge of the whole franchise. You followed it through all the movies on this chart. And so I wanted to ask you, if you were to be asked, was this show in its totality, not just picking a single episode, was this show in its totality alien to you? When you think of this show, did it feel like Alien?
Okay, can I answer that question first? Dan, do me a favor, show that timeline there of the alien stuff there. I just want to bring that up real quick. Okay, so you're missing one there, Dan. Can you show my camera real quick? You're missing one that is required, and I think you guys need to see this. So
Alien Isolation.
Yeah, Isolation.
No, you need to see the true prequel right here, and this is for you guys.
Amen, amen, brother.
I upgraded to a Blu-ray edition of Outland with Sean Connery. This is the actual true prequel to all the aliens.
There you go.
So where does that fit in? Where does that fit in on the timeline, Kev?
That fits in probably I don't know, maybe 2020 50, maybe something like 2050, something like that, maybe,
Outland is the inverse of Zardos.
But to answer your question there, Gary, this one felt very Aliens to me because of the sets, because of the setting and the technology. The way they create the hallways, especially with the ship. The ship really got me. And also with the test tubes and with all the aliens that were kind of captured, that felt like it. The flash, yeah, exactly. I think the production designer should get an Emmy for this show. That's what it felt like. And we've got obviously some new aliens to talk about as well, but it definitely did feel that way, to answer your question, Gary.
Right. Well, no, I knew that probably somebody was going to just focus on that, but I mean, if you can't isolate just this episode, you've got to take the entire series, what it accomplished in all 8 hours, and cumulatively, the good and the bad. Does it still feel like Alien to you?
It does to me, because it sets up a prequel to the original Alien, especially with Utani and the other competing people that want the power of these aliens, or the immortality that it's going to present, that have been learning about. And it gives you reason, it gives you action, of why these people are out in space in the first place, maybe under false pretenses and stuff like that. But for me, it does. I don't know. What about the rest of you? What do you think?
Well, we'll come back to that question in a little while, because I was looking to ask that myself.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, it lines up with something that I wanted to come to in the next part of the show. But yeah, I think this is the point where we have to head over to the live chat. People have been watching and listening along on YouTube and Rumble to our look here at the conclusion to Alien Earth Episode 8. They've certainly got their opinions about it as well. So let's go and see what they've got to say.
Nobody likes it in the chat.
Alien! We're surrounded! And we're not giving up! Let's do it! Ripley's got the power loader, the ultimate battle suit, perfect in a pinch, with all the anti-alien firepower a Marine could ask for. And when things get out of control, send in the Stinger. 4 wheels of rocket-powered punishment and a trapper line for hanging aliens out to dry. Ugly aliens getting you down?
Send in the Marines!
Aliens!
So yes, the siblings are now estranged. The Lost Boys rule Neverland. Wayland Yutani is about to engage in some sort of hot ground war with Prodigy. For a season finale, there's no way that was ever going to please everyone any more than any of the other series has, come to think of it. But the comments here on YouTube and Rumble, they are definitely leaning in one direction. This show has been very, very well received. We have to acknowledge that. Out there, not just the critics, fans, generally speaking, seem to have enjoyed this. But over in our live chat on YouTube and Rumble, it's somewhat of a different story. We have several comments here from Dalek Lives Matter, DLM. He starts off saying, shallow, cliche, dog shit. And that's its good points. And most of DLM's comments are along similar lines, so we won't be going over all of them. But you can get the general gist of it from that. Not had a good time with this show
Put on the
at
DVD
all.
box.
The real monsters were the friends we made along the way, suggests Archer Collin in
yes.
In speech quotes there, so I'm not quite sure what he's referring to there, but I think he could be taking the piss. I think, but yes, Colin goes on to say, I understand that the creature is popular, the eyeball creature, but personally, it put him right off to the point where he had to look away from the screen. That's always been the case with monster movies, though, hasn't it, Rabbi? You look away, you think, I want to look, but I don't want to look. That kind of thing.
It was a particular phobia of yours, like eyeballs, which is a lot of people's, right? I could hear that being too much, but no, I love the eyeball monster myself. I thought the eyeball monster was fantastic, right? Look, can you throw up that timeline again? Because the way I see they could really do something smart with this franchise is if you keep.
We're supposed to be looking at the comments. Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, but if they do more of this Alien Earth for the weirdos like that sort of alien for me, and then develop the Alien Romulus franchise, so you can have much more of the
populist monster movie date night stuff.
Yeah, I think I could. There's definitely 2 strands of alien fandom.
Now I'm happy for them to expand the alien intellectual property like this, and to sort of to tell, if not different kinds of stories, because I do think that Alien works best as a monster movie, as a chase movie, than to slightly to turn up the settings, turn up and turn down the settings, so you can appeal to slightly different people in slightly different contexts and expand the kind of sci-fi storytelling and themes that you can perhaps play with. I think that's perfectly viable. And after 45 years, you either let the thing completely drop, or you do just that. And I think it's perfectly viable to do this. I haven't got a problem with the principle at all. All my problems with this are creatively, with the way in which it's been presented. And I think there's lots of scope myself, but there's a great deal of resistance too. It seems that certainly with the people who've grown up with this, there is a significant proportion of the fans of Alien who simply want it to remain as it always was. And you think, well, in that case, if you think, well, I've had all the Alien that I could ever want, I do think there's an argument to be said to say, well, if that in that case, if you feel that way, then simply whatever they make past a certain point, then just say, okay, well, that's not my alien anymore. I've got all I need. Thank you very much, but you can take the rest, and to take your leave. But I also understand the OCD side to a lot of us that makes that next to impossible to do. So. I'm not sure if there's an answer. But we have our own agency. You know, we don't have to pay in to watch this stuff. We can decide that we've had enough and that we've got all that we need. I think that's perfectly reasonable as well.
I was going to say, like in the post-woke world that we're living in now, right? Again, I'm going back to Star Wars and really finding, thoroughly finding stuff in there that I think is quite good. Right, but you've got to be able to pick and choose. They're there's some things that are just unwatchable. You can't say, no, that's completely a different universe. Like, no, Star Trek Discovery doesn't touch anything, please.
Well, right? Lucy Meow says, correct. Chris, your comment about mystery boxes over mystery boxes just suck. Well, but it's old-fashioned now, I think, Chris, that sort of storytelling. I think it was exploited as much as it could ever have been, mostly by J.J.
Well, Dan, J.J. Abrams drove it into the ground. I think mystery boxes are why I just, to this day, I hate episode recaps. But even just what you were saying previously, Dan, about franchises and how far they can transform. There's also the concept, which kind of retroactively became known as jumping the shark, which some people refer to it as the period after a show has peaked, which I guess Happy Days peaked when whatever space is, Fonzie jumped the shark, even though it went on for like 6 more seasons, or the period when a franchise ceases to be what it was and starts to become something else. So I think, Dan, you're talking about how protective or maybe OCD, and I know I'm OCD over many things. I think, that's kind of the geek mentality. But I think with an existing franchise, I think you can only stretch it so far, and then to the point that it's no longer that franchise and it's something else, which is why I advocate, I think many franchises just need to end and give us something else. Stop trying to turn franchises into something that they aren't, which luckily they aren't trying to turn them into woke mind propaganda anymore. But you can still take an existing show and even non-politically try and transform it into something else.
Bowles, can I ask you, what were your thoughts on the Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles?
Okay, we can't talk guys, we've got to stay on topic.
That quickly. I've never
sorry, because I thought that was way more off than this.
We're supposed to be taking these comments. People have been waiting to hear our thoughts. Rose Kirby says, "Hey, does anyone on the panel think it's a copycat of Westworld?"
Yeah,
now,
I said
Rose,
that.
do you mean the movie or the TV show? Some of the themes are definitely a crossover, aren't they, Rabbi? The idea of replicating human life and maybe even improving on organic life. That was the theme
that's again, artificial life, artificial intelligence. That just you always have me. One of my favorite movies is AI. All right. Creating artificial life just always fascinates me. That's why I like Westworld. So for me, it's a plus.
Thank you for that question, Rose. DLM is back in and suggests it's like watching a show made for autistics, in which rational logic is irrelevant to the viewer. It's bizarre. I don't know about this a show made for autistics, but I think that it's undercooked. I think it's, for a show that's been in production for 5 years, I'd consider this to be undercooked. And DLM also believes that it's breaking alien law way too much for it to be taken seriously.
Well, again, it does disregard Alien 3 and on.
But has it contradicted Alien 3 or 4 in any way, Kev, that you're aware of? Because I haven't detected anywhere. But
Alien 4, no, because that takes place way in the future, and they grabbed some DNA to clone Ripley, and then they've found some aliens to basically capture and do whatever they want with it. Try to get aliens. So no, that's why I like Alien 4, because it's its own alternate reality. Alien 3, no, because it sucked and should never exist. So no.
Well, I would go even further and say it didn't really break
Alien 3
lore.
does not. Alien 3 is not in my headcanon. I'm sorry, it's not there.
Well,
plus you kill Ripley at the end. What the hell? Why does that movie exist? Oh, I don't know, because people thought it might have been cool, and David Fincher's like, okay, well, I need a big movie to get going here, so yeah.
I think it's even more than that. I think it didn't break alien lore because it had almost nothing to do with aliens. So that's your answer right there. It didn't break. It was a completely different story. But Kevin, yes, I agree with you 100%. 32 years later, I'm still grumpy over.
The question is, how will the events of Alien Earth be kept secret so that what happens in Aliens, because people came from Earth to be an alien and be the colonial marines and stuff like that. How is that kept secret from them never knowing what ever happened? That's the big question. It hasn't broken anything yet, but they got to figure out at the finale of whenever this show ends, how is this all going to be kept secret so that the people from Alien and Aliens should have never found out about it in the first place?
I mean, it could be, Kev. It could be, Kev, that any subsequent seasons of Alien Earth itself, or any further productions that Hulu and FX want to make attached to this brand, it may be that a season 2 could take place between Aliens, and Aliens, or parallel to Aliens. They could fox us all and make some sort of anthology show.
Because Carter Brook, from Aliens, he may have some insight on this, because he does. He knows why they want to bring back the alien specimens. And so he probably knows, and where does his lineage go? Who are his bosses that are keeping these secrets for the colonists who are sent out there to supposedly colonize other planets? Right. Were they sent there, or were they sent there to be basically guinea pigs for alien embryos?
Well, the vibe I got was that Burke was the only one who really knew what was going on. That's why he sent the Newt's family over.
Exactly.
I was actually hoping this would end is you get that all the ships coming in, they just basically kind of nuke the island, and Yutani says, well, at least we kept him from getting his hands on it. That's okay. We have another ship out there that we're going to, don't even name it, just we have another ship out there.
That would annoy me so much.
Really?
It would annoy the crap out of it. It's one step away from Alien Romulus, where they're actually quoting lines from other Alien movies. Most of us on the panel here have been, I think, if not delighted by the Oculus creature and the various other things, like the plant that sucked up that one soldier in the finale. We finally saw that happen, didn't we? It sort of sucked her up into the ceiling. I've loved all that stuff, but again, there is a portion of the audience, of geekdom, and maybe even of the alien fandom that simply doesn't want any of these other creatures brought into it, that maybe feel like the xenomorph is enough. And I think that's kind of what Colin Archer's pointing to here. Some of the comments about this series have made me think. He suggests in any other franchise, the word alien could refer to any extraterrestrial, but in this case, it has a specific meaning. Mm-hmm. So, again, even though I don't feel this way, I feel that the series and this fictional universe does need to expand. There are a great many people who just want to see those creatures doing their thing and wreaking that particular brand of havoc in the way that Chris describes so colourfully.
Dan, I would say I don't have an issue with the. I actually like the new aliens being introduced, because that's kind of I know
you do, but some don't though.
And I can get that too. I think for me it's because I always like the fear factor of the aliens and eye bug monster, as I call them. That's terrifying. So that was one of that. I will say, if there's something that I really liked at that, poor sheep. But yeah, it's one of the things that I liked about this, but I wanted more of that.
Stephen Braddock says, I really enjoyed episodes 1 and 2, hated 3 and 4, loved 5, and then it was all downhill to a terrible climax with a pet alien and an even smaller cute alien. Not alien, according to Stephen Braddock. So he's definitely not a happy camper at all. And Lucy Meow suggests the showrunner has no answers and only killed our time again with a mystery box game.
I'm sure, yeah. I think he has answers. I don't know. Maybe I'm being charitable, but it seems to me he's right.
Well, Rabbi, what I've found with mystery box games, and I think this is the case in most incidents that we know for a fact it's the case with Abrams, is if you don't know where you're going with something, a mystery box is a very easy and lazy way of going about doing it because you don't have answers. So you're just going to pose a bunch of questions. And then more often than not, it ends in whatever the hell happened at the end of
the vibe I got is everybody's been moved on the board to a certain place to begin telling the story. That was I think he's the writer is control of everything. I hope it gets a second season. I'm very much enjoying it.
Well, the problem is though that's not really necessarily what we wanted. Like you could have set the board in the place maybe in the first 2 episodes, but you have 8 episodes where you're setting the board with, for me, it's a pretty obvious cliffhanger. And you don't know when this is going to happen. And with streaming shows, it's usually 3 years. So I really think to bring the Alien franchise back, or to give it, I hate the word relevance, but to give it any kind of relevance, I think you needed to give us a strong, self-contained, and concluded story with the 1 season. And then if you want to do a second season, you can basically make it like
again, that's
movie.
A fair criticism. I mean, I certainly hear you. It should have had a more definite ending than it did. Right? Like for me, I was fine with it because I'm definitely coming back. But it was very arrogant. I agree. But I'm fascinated by this whole story. And listen, and also I'm assuming it's going to have good answers. If it doesn't, it's like I hope so. It could go Game of Thrones. Who knows?
Oh yeah, we forgot that one. Yeah, that's so Game of Thrones or the last episode of Lost. That's what happens when you do this.
Stephen Braddock wants to know how the hell the crew of the Maginot captured all of the aliens in the first place. In some ways, I'd have been more interested in that than how they were all killed, because I feel we've seen that already. But we haven't seen this. Morrow sort of as that kind of gamekeeper, I suppose, the curator. I think that could have been quite interesting. But we didn't see that. We didn't see any of that. Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. 407169 says the Alien Earth advertising was completely false and less truthful than a Labour Party manifesto. I don't know if it was false advertising, but I mentioned the Statue of Liberty poster earlier on. There were several like that.
Deliberately misleading.
Yeah.
I will say, though, I thought that just looked at as marketing pieces, I thought the marketing for this show was exceptional. I mean, everything that to bring fans in, I don't think it was deceptive, but I think the quality of the art, the images and everything, and I think there was real thought and creativity there. I wish the show had lived up to the marketing.
There was a real Battlestar Galactica like interaction with fandom that I noticed, like them posting like just tons of stuff on social media.
Well, one compliment I have to give it that I didn't really, and I've seen people online ripping it apart for this, but I like the fact that they deliberately went with the 1979 aesthetics, because one of the problems, and I think probably Star Trek Enterprise would be a great example of this, where they tried making futuristic technology in 2021 to the point where now it, like, you look at those old flat LCD monitors, it looks dated. That's just the best example I can think of off the top of my head. But I like the fact, and this is one of the only things I liked about Star Wars, or at least the ones that I've seen, is they've gone back to that original aesthetic from the 70s. And to me, that makes sense. Because especially when you have a timeless franchise or a franchise that goes on for a long time, whenever you try and create the future in terms of set design, in terms of computer design, it's always going to look dated with only a few years. So I actually like the fact that they deliberately went back to that 79 aesthetic. I love the design of the stats, that going back to the Nostromo. I think that part I applaud them for. And that's one of the criticisms that I'm seeing on a lot of other YouTube channels. where they went out of their way to recreate this or member berries. I'm like, no, I wouldn't really. No, this is not member berries because the whole plot is so far removed. I like this consistency where they're trying to make it obvious that this is in the same world. So visually, I think it was done well. In terms of set design, I think it was done very well. I know this may be a contentious issue amongst most fandoms. Half will like it, half won't. But I'm like, we don't really need to create the future anymore because it's always going to be dated in a few years. Just go back with what worked. Be like, I'd be perfectly happy if Star Trek did a Constitution class bridge from the 1960s again. I'm like, just go with what. So visually, I will say, visually, I liked it.
PD Rich has dropped us a comment here in the live chat and says it's crapped all over aliens, saying Wayland Yutani owns the Americas, mercenaries running around with M41As and smart guns when it should all be laser weapons. Again, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel.
That's one of the things I like, that the military did have that aesthetic of aliens. At the same time, you had the very strong 70s alien aesthetic going on as well.
I'm going to just politely disagree with PD Rich there, especially since I know that Noah Hawley is a huge fan of the original Alien and Aliens, and intended for this to be a true prequel to these two series that he loves and that most fans unanimously think are, the best double feature of these films.
Do any of you know what the cumulative budget for this was? Because I heard one place they said the budget for all these 8 episodes was $250 million.
Dear God.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
They probably spent $150 million on the first 2 episodes. And that was where the money went. I mean, those two, and also the flashback one, but not even so much. All that money went on those first 2 episodes.
There were some incredible special
keep
effects.
one thing in mind too. They filmed this all in Indonesia and in around there, including I think it was Singapore studios and stuff. So they saved a lot of money doing it overseas and not in the States.
There are some images that will definitely stay with people. I think primarily the Oculus inside the sheep inspired its own Funko Pop. The only Alien Earth collectible I have seen as of time of recording. Who knows what could be in people's Christmas stocking?
Funko Pop I've ever wanted.
When
the likely source, by the way, real quick, sorry, Dan, it was over 250 million, surpassing the reported 250 million for FX's hit Shogun. And the series' bigger scale production suggests a significant investment, which FX was ready to spend to support the creator's ambitions. That's from AI Overview, where they bring a lot of the reports together.
They go to great lengths to make sure that we know that no sheep were harmed in the making of Alien Earth. So it has been rumored that a continuation of this has been greenlit. What we don't know at the moment is whether or not Noah Hawley himself is going to be on board. You're quite right, Rabbi. You mentioned it earlier on. He's speaking of potentially a multi-season arc of sorts, a landscape of stories against this particular version of the futuristic Earth, with which he could use to expand on the themes that we've all talked about several times. I mean, how likely do we think it is going to be that this does appear for a season 2? There does seem to be an overwhelming appetite for more.
I'll be very surprised if it doesn't get a second season. It's critically, it's done very well.
It seems that it does seem that way to me. Noah Hawley does seem very invested in it and intrinsically sort of linked to it in a similar way to which Ridley Scott has been. He does seem to be there for the duration, but obviously these things can change too. Having just watched those 8 episodes, I suppose the other question is, it's one thing if they make it, would you be prepared to watch it? I mean, you've had probably the toughest time of all of us, Chris. Would you watch another season of this? Would you give it another day in court? Because, between now and whenever something would appear, which, as you say yourself, could be years. So take that out of the equation. would you give this another try, despite all the areas in which season 1 hasn't delivered for you? Would you give them a second shot with season 2?
Well, the first question, Dan, is how bored am I when this comes out? I don't think I would want to commit to reviewing another 8 episodes.
That's not what I'm asking.
It's
okay.
Honestly, I don't know if I can answer that. Like, I may, I could be proven wrong, and I have been proven wrong in the past, where they could do a complete turnaround, and I could get an alien bloodbath in season 2. That would make me happy. My simple answer is I don't know. Am I excited for it? No. Will I be waiting with bated breath? No. If there's nothing else on and it happens to be on, maybe. Do I want to review it and do it like homework again, like these past 8 weeks? No. Probably not. I might do the first episode, but yeah, so I'll let everybody know if in 5 to 10 years, whenever we get a second season, if Dan decides that he wants to do this again during the second half of the show, I will have to bow out after my PSA during those episodes and just let you all take it.
I doubt that.
It's my simple answer is I don't know. It won't be on. I would have to say I don't care.
Chris, I feel exactly the same way as you do, to the letter. It wouldn't bother me if I never saw another millisecond of this ever again. And I sincerely believe that in 18 months' time, I'll likely forget I even watched this.
Yeah.
I'll forget by next weekend.
I think the best, honestly, I don't know if they considered this. I actually think if they adopted the approach of like American Horror Story, where every season is self-contained, and it can be like an anthology, set really kind of anywhere in any situation. I actually think that's probably the best bet for this. Would I want to watch another season with these characters in this setup? No.
Exactly.
I gotta say, they're super not doing that. This is again, it's. I have no idea where the story's going. I'm invested though.
Dan, is it? Well, that brings up a question, but I didn't know if you wanted to jump on it. I need to have the Sydney Chandler character conversation with you all.
Okay.
So going into it, she would have to be back for the next season,
right?
They can't do an anthology type thing. They can't. There's too many questions that they've left at the end of this to not try to answer more questions here. Her powers, her ability, what makes her special? Why was she created? And then why does she have a much better ability to basically figure these things out and realize that she has this thing going on? What was this done on purpose that Cavalier didn't know about? He thinks he's the smartest person in the room. He projects that to everyone. Apparently he is not. And was that done behind his back? I have so many questions about this character that I'm trying to figure it out in my head. Maybe you guys can throw something out there that I haven't thought of, because this is the biggest question. Why is she able to control these people? Mm-hmm. Why is she able to control the aliens? Why is she able to control this
technology as well?
Yeah, but also the big bad human synth that's protecting Boy Cavalier, that has this power, that was able to do what he needed to do until he couldn't. Why was she able to do what she was able to do and control all the machines and orchestrate this whole thing? What is it about her that was happening? This has not been answered yet, and I have questions, and I need you guys to speculate, because
again, the most fundamental question is, what is the connection between her and the alien?
Yeah,
right. I will say maybe it's going to tie into Prometheus and Covenant, where like you have the synthetic.
Well, Rabbi, your first question: what is the connection? Surely, you're most weeks, you've drawn our attention to the AI aspect of this. Is it simply that it is a highly, highly advanced form of machine learning, where it's simply technology that can, being artificially intelligent, being able to interface with everything and everyone? It's simply learning everything at a significantly faster rate than.
I was reading it. Yeah, their abilities are based upon their imagination, and she's imaginative. That's why she works out to hack whatever it was. I think, right? And she's like, that's what I mean. When it says the real monsters, I think there's argument could be made. It's the synths, it's the humans. I like that ambiguity, right? And again, honestly, this hinges on the relationship between her and the alien. Like, if they don't give you a good explanation for that, that's bullshit. It's very important, right? I'm totally on board for a second season, but like, this is like you can't tease out for long.
Every one of those questions that Kevin had, I think, is absolutely right. That was the question that I had about why can Wendy do this and not all the others when they were basically all created in the same way?
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think that, those questions presuppose that Hawley, if he stays in control of it all, has those answers. I can't help but think of Chris Carter with the X-Files, where it was nothing but 9 seasons of piling complication on complication on complication. And years later, he admitted, I had no idea where the story was going.
Lost anyone? Lost anyone?
No, I agree, Gary. In the X-Files example, that's something that just that grates my greatness, grumpiness. Actually, I think it may be X-Files more than anything else that turned me off to these type of convoluted stories, and that's probably a better example than Lost in terms of what we got here. Gary, to this day, I could not bring myself to watch any X-Files mythology episodes. I cannot stand them. I love the Alien of the Week episodes, that mythology, and especially when they tried to bring it into the 2010s. Jesus Christ. The X-Files should, and I love this. I love the non-mythology X-Files. It's, I think, you take out the mythology, it's one of the best shows ever made. But that's a problem with Alien too. Like, people were sick of this kind of stuff over 20 years ago. Like, just give us a straight up story.
Straight up stories probably don't come any better than the original Alien movie from 1979. I will be revisiting this at some point in the future. I think it's only fair. Don't forget, keep a lookout. Keep a lookout for that. Also, keep in mind, great geek hack there, 1.25 speed. Yeah, for anybody who wants to get caught up on Alien Earth and see what it is that we've all been talking about and where it could fit into the legacy there, and could it find a place in your affections alongside 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or more, all of these. For all I know, I've got a soft spot for all of them myself for completely different reasons. We'll be certainly coming back to that at some point. Alien Earth itself remains available to stream or binge, to get your teeth into, of course, on FX and Hulu in North America, and Disney Plus everywhere else. So get on it. Maybe let the dust settle on our reviews, and if you're brave enough to take on the mission yourself, we'll be as eager to find out if it's continuing as everybody else, but maybe for slightly different reasons. Alien Watch, that may well resume too in time. So stay tuned.
Alien! We're surrounded! And we're not giving up! Let's do it! Ripley's got the power loader, the ultimate battle suit, perfect in a pinch, with all the anti-alien firepower a Marine could ask for. And when things get out of control, send in the Stinger. 4 wheels of rocket-powered punishment and a trapper line for hanging aliens out to dry. Ugly aliens getting you down?
Send in the Marines!
Aliens!
This has been the Spacebook Live on YouTube and Rumble with our long-form review and summary of not just the finale to Alien Earth Season 1, maybe, but Alien Earth as it stands currently as a production, as a viable continuation and expansion of the Alien legacy, the Alien saga, the Alien quadrilogy, whatever they call it now. I don't know where we're up to with how many of those movies. Lots of people don't count most of those movies now, it seems. Even Noah Hawley only counts to 2. Oh dear. Play with whatever you can get your hands on, and let us know where the land lies. Rabbi, how you feeling, mate? You feeling better having talked it all out?
I do. But I am going to have to climb the wooden hill to Bedfordshire. I am cream crackers, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go.
I am in a way that is most profound, right?
If you're feeling up to it, are you live streaming much over the next day or two? Where can people find you to get more?
Doing a stream tomorrow, depending how I feel. But I got it like my prayer service in synagogue it was normally 7:15, now it's 6:50 because it's the high holidays and it's killing me. So I got to go to bed. Essentially.
Thank you,
so
Rabbi.
There you go. Thank you for having me on. Toodle pip, everybody.
Get well soon, mate. Get well soon. Catch the Rabbi from Another Planet over on X on the daily, and find his YouTube channel, of course. The thumbnail, you can't miss it. It's the one with the thumbnails. You know what I'm talking about, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And Kev, thanks for coming back again for the conclusion. I'm glad to have been able to bring in your thoughts too, because you've been on several of these. So it's been great to have you as part of the Spacebook Live.
Thank you. I just want to mention, by the way, I want to give you big props for your production value, putting all the thoughts into how the show's going to go, and getting all the stuff for StreamYard. As someone who produces and does a lot of that, I know the hard work that it goes into. So thank you for doing that. I just want to give you a little heads up there.
Bravo.
Including getting the audio version of these for our Fandom Podcast Network. Thank you very much. You can find me, Kevin, at Spartan_Phoenix on all of the socials, and just a little tease of what's happening here on the Fandom Podcast Network. In addition to dropping these audios and your Type 40 Doctor Who podcast and all that, please check us out. We're on. If you're a Star Trek fan, we're going to be doing a limited release of all the Star Trek Q episodes by John Delancey. So going to be doing that soon, so check in with that. We're also going to be celebrating 80s canon films, starting next with going next with Invasion USA, and a special Halloween episode. My lovely wife and I are going to be talking about one of the great Halloween movies. We're going to be talking about Fright Night, which is celebrating its 40th.
Oh yeah,
love that.
So we got a little bit of everything, and then of course we're discussing the year of 1990 on Time Warp. So make sure you guys check that out. So we got a lot of fun.
Irresistible.
Hey, Brewster.
Chris, it's been a blinder. I know this series has tested your patience. I don't think we'll be doing anything like it again for a little while at least, but thank you for being up for it and for gracing us with your presence there and your horror expertise as well. I think there'll be a lot of people out there who share your frustrations and who share your concerns, of course, for the well-being of Frank. What do we know? What's the update, mate? Because it's getting cold and winter's coming in.
Well, as you remember, last week we were leaked this image of Frank. So based on reports, I can confirm that not only has Frank joined a cult, apparently he is leading that cult.
Oh.
And the story got a little bit deeper this week, and I'm very disappointed in him for this. It appears Frank has accidentally conjured Satan, and
happens to anyone.
Yeah, and so things are getting a little bit hairy. I have to be honest. I cannot condone Frank's behavior anymore. Even the terrible things that he did on New Year's Eve last year. Like conjuring Satan, really, dude? Like, what the hell? Even if it was by accident, what an idiot. So Professor Dickles said he will no longer mention Frank by name. He is completely disassociated from Frank. Because the chances are it's going to be the end of days thanks to Frank. I'm like, Satan's coming, and it's all Frank's fault. So hashtag blame Frank, down with Frank. So we'll... Stephen Braddock, is Frank the new labor leader then? No,
yes.
Satan wants to stay away from that. But he might be the second most evil being now on Earth, thanks to Frank. So we'll find out what happened. But yes, but the story is Satan has been accidentally conjured into existence by Frank and his cult. Thanks, Frank.
Yeah, but he's going to lose. We all know that. So.
Yeah.
Obviously, we do everything we can on the Spacebook Live to keep you informed about the state of the incoming apocalypse, by the sound of it, all due to Frank. If not, you can go and find you on social media, can't we, Chris? People can go and look you up on X and various other places.
Yes, you could find, if you like angry stuff, find me at Bullstruck. If you like horror movies and the adventures of Sky, the most adorable puppy in the world, I'm at Cultivated Media. And if you want to witness, oh yeah, I didn't even say a few weeks ago, my YouTube channel turned 18 years old. So I've been yelling at things for 18 years.
Congratulations.
My YouTube channel is literally old enough to drink now. So I might actually be able to get, because they're bringing in the age ID, but when your channel itself is over 18 years old, why would they make you do a digital ID? I'm like, did I create this when I didn't exist? So yeah, fun times.
Fun times, absolutely. Nothing to be afraid of, ladies. It's all good fun. It's all good fun.
Hey,
yes,
one of my fans.
Where has that screen been for the last 2 hours?
Good point. Yeah, yeah. We're starting to flag everybody, but that's it. That is. It's time to wrap it up. The bat poll awaits. Gary, I think we've the last couple of months. I have enjoyed talking about Alien Earth. I sincerely have. It was a fun experiment, a show.
Yes.
I think we'd all been anticipating for one reason or another. But I think it could be wise that there was only 8. Of these. I could have stood a lot less. But thank you for being here each and every time, Gary. We do
always.
You rock, Gary. You rock.
Well, no, I mean, you're right. It is an experiment. I mean, because it's like, well, I'm up for it. Dan says we're going to do this. What do you think? It's like, sounds great. I'm up for it. I mean, it does solidify my appreciation for the shows and movies that do have good writing and strong characters, and that will always, be the determinant of whether I love something or not. So no, it's good. And you know what? I think, as I put in the chat, Dan, I think the Spacebook has a new motto now, which is 1.25 is alive. That can be our motto now.
Can't say much further.
Don't watch. If you're watching this, everybody, do not watch these streams on 1.25.
Oh.
You have to watch it just as regular to appreciate every morsel of goodness. Do not watch it in fast forward.
Yeah, you need my voice certainly in all its manly glory. Let us know what you think of all the various bombshells that we've dropped on this edition of the Spacebook Live. Instagram and Twitter at the Spacebook. That's where you can find me to get all of your comments in, your suggestions, further remarks about the Alien series. Of course, would you like to see us do it again with something else, maybe from a slightly different side to geekdom? Maybe something from the past even. I don't know, but we're open to your suggestions there. Of course we are, but those bat polls, they look very inviting. We'll see you out there somewhere soonish. That's it for this one and for our Umbrella series as well here at the Spacebook Live. You take care. Speak to you all again soon. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.